candidates, well, thank you, Keith. So both candidates are great assets to our fencing circle. So let me give the time to both candidates. So just briefly introduce the format today. We wanted to go over because we raised the 10 questions to all the candidates. So each one of them have presented the answer, and we want both candidates to elaborate their positions, and then we will ask the community today to raise additional questions or additional comments so we can discuss in the meeting. So by and large, that we want the community to know both of you better, so that they can make the educated decision on who should they pick for the board of directors. So, Ms. Andreeva, why don't you start first? And so let's start with the first question. Why are you running for the USFA board of directors?
No, no. First of all, I love fencing. I involved in fencing almost all my life since I was 10. I'm almost 60 today, so nearly like 50, a little bit, almost like 50 years. And I was a successful epi fencer. I'm a coach, and I'm a fencing parent. I don't like what's happening with USA fencing recently. I don't like the direction where they're going. In particular, I do believe that we have to focus on sport and not on politics. And we have to, it doesn't matter, it's like left wing or right wing. We just need to take it aside and focus on fencing. And also a lot of a lot of things that should be done is not happening. We have like a big conflict and big disconnect between the office, the board of directors, the current board of directors, and the fencing community. We have a rather big conflict between US referees and coaches and parents. And again, I don't blame referees here. Somebody may, I think I am, and somebody even posted that I'm against referees. No, I'm not. I'm actually pro-referees. I want to make refereeing much better in the US, but we need to have a different approach. The way we teach them, the way we communicate with each other. Also, I do believe that small recreational clubs right now cannot afford this increase like membership, and we need to address this issue. Fencing is growing, then we have more and more members, we have more participants in the tournaments, but for some reason our tournament and club fees keep going up and up. So I want to understand why, and a lot of many other things. But these are the main. I also want to USA fencing to be involved much more in reaching out to US universities to establish more NCAA teams, because this is our future. This is the future of fencing in the United States. These are the areas where we need to improve, and I believe I can help, to move forward with these ideas.
Okay, very good. Very good. Okay, Ms. Payne, can you please provide your answer on this?
Yes, well, thank you so much for inviting me for this conversation, and thank you for everybody who is taking the time on this Sunday night or Sunday late afternoon, wherever you are, to listen to the candidates and make better educated decisions for yourself and for our community. I'm running because I love fencing. I have been a fencer since a young age. I came here as a young girl back in the 90s, and I got a scholarship for fencing for the University of Notre Dame. I was in the Hungarian national team before. I I'm a parent. My son is Marcelo Olivares. Some of you might know him. He is a top fencer at Notre Dame. He also has a couple of world medals, and now he's kind of breaking into the senior circuit. I am a referee. I've been a referee for a while. I'm also sitting on the audit committee. So my understanding of fencing goes a little bit beyond fencing itself, because I see the numbers in the audit committee. I worked for a big four accounting firms. I was a vice president of a large division at one of the largest hospital systems. And this gives me a comprehensive view and understanding of what a board should be doing. I advised many boards. I was sitting in boards. I audited boards. So I feel that my professional, educational, and personal interests all line up. And this is a good time for me to get involved, because I'm at the time of my children are out of the house. My son just graduated and kind of, getting his first job. My daughter is a CPA, and I'm ready to give back more to fencing, because I got everything from fencing. I was able to come here. I was able to build a family, and I'm really passionate about the sport. I'm independent. I do not represent any club. I'm not representing anybody, specifically. I want to represent the community and what's best for fencing. I do see, similarly as Mr. Gabo had mentioned, issues with U.S. fencing leadership, both at the board level and the staff level, and also the disconnect from the community. Being a referee, the directions sometimes given to be more harsh and give cards. I do not necessarily agree with that. I look at our stakeholders or parents or coaches or athletes as one group, and we need to work together to better our future and have a successful U.S. fencing for the generations to come. So that's something that I'm really passionate about. And that's what I want to help to overcome and bridge those gaps and come up with better policies, better strategies. We cannot do that if we don't have strong financials. And at this point, our financials are negative. If I don't know if many of your accountants, business people, or even just having, common sense, you all know that our membership fees had increased. Our necks are extremely expensive. International tournaments are out of control. However, our bottom line remains negative. And that's what I try to focus on, of have a better financial stability. We need to control our expenses, not to grow too fast. We need to make sure our foundation fully supports fencing. A lot of you might be donating to the foundation, but a lot of those monies are not coming back in fast enough and to the areas where we need the money for. So that's something that I would love to change. At this point, I'm only on the audit committee. We only look at the financials after the facts and telling them whether the audit was successful or not. There is not much I can change. As a board member, I could get that power to change things with my other board members, and that's what I'm running. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Very good. Well, thank you both. And let's move to our next question. I know you guys all talk about the existing issues with USA fencing today. So from your perspective, what are the areas that USA fencing needs the most changes and the improvements? So Ms. Kiva, can you please start again?
So I'm answering now? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, no, one of the first thing, revise and update USA fencing bylaws. Because right now, first of all, for some reason, we are behind, like in rules. I mean, we are behind. It takes like sometimes months or years, to adopt new USFA rules and regulations. Also, the way we select board chair, before it was USFA president. A lot of other areas where current bylaws not letting us move on the right direction. Like I mentioned before, it's important to focus on the sport. This is the area, not on politics. Like I talked to this about already before. For example, I don't understand why we choose need to choose like locations based of abortion right or any other rights. I mean, the problem with this is tomorrow board will decide, you know, like some other rights are jeopardizing, you know, like we jeopardize some other rights. Okay, let's not move to that direction, to that state or to that city. I believe we need to focus on strictly on how safe is the place, how probably is it enough restaurants, is it easy to get in from the airport, and things like this. Now, the next area, also very important, like we mentioned before, is establish a dialogue between referees, coaches, and athletes. I already been talking to top referees, and many of them agree with me. They said, okay, guys, let's probably start doing some small seminars during next, you know, where 3 parties will be involved, you know, the referees, top coaches, and top athletes, Olympians, you know, where we can share, you know, what's happening in international arena, how we call this or other actions. But we need to create a dialogue first to create a trust between coaches and parents, so it will be not so much anger in the fencing venue. Also, it's important that in our committees, right now, in many committees, we have people who has nothing to do with who have nothing to do with fencing. Some of them are not familiar with the rules of a fencing bout, and they lead some of the fencing committees. I mean, we need to elect the more professionals and get more professionals involved on the decision maker committees. I would say with the budget, right? Like I mentioned before, we need. I would like. I have no idea yet how the budget is built. However, I would like, if elected, I would like to see the budget and make sure that the budget goes, the money goes to fencing. Because right now we hear like more and more like a new position in the office, another position of the office. And we have, again, we're generating more and more money, but still we're going to the world championships where athletes have to pay for the coaches, where you know, our apparel, you know, they're giving just, you know, like some jacket, or it's kind of, you look the other nation and you see like, you know, they have like all fancy nice apparels, you know, like all bill pays. I understand that the subsidized sport, I understand government gives them more money, but I believe we have enough money to support our athletes and coaches first, and then the office. Also, and talking about this, yes, to see if we can reduce maybe tournament fees for our parents. I mean, we jump in 2 years, I think we jumped from like $80-90 per tournament. Now it's like over 200. I mean, what will be in a year or two? I mean, this is so revising the budget will be very important thing, and redistributing funds and make sure that athletes and coaches get benefits first. And of course, support a small club, because our fencing in the United States, it's a club-based system. So these are the most important entity in US fencing. We need to address a club's issue. We need to support a small club to make sure that they develop to a bigger club, you know, like, because this is our future as well. I think these are the areas where we need improvement the most.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Giva. And Mrs. Payne?
Yeah, so I agree with everything what we just heard. However, we cannot do anything until the financials are fixed. So we really need to focus on the transparency of the financial statements and making sure that our negative bottom line is turned around. We need more funding from the foundation. There's a lot of money that being put aside there and not flowing through the organization for things what we need the money for. And that's why they're raising the fees. That's why the memberships are going up, because you might be doing fundraisers, and you say you raised $1 million, but you know how much it's cost? $900,000. So you really raised $100,000. This is very, very important, because all those money what you're raising, it's a sole purpose organization, needs to come back to USA Fencing. I would like to see more money going from the foundation for our clubs, for our athletes, for special events. For example, we're losing a lot of money on international events what we are organizing here in the United States. There is no reason for that. We can cover our costs just like we cover in the NEX and nationals. And if there is a negative bottom line, we need to put together a committee from the foundation transferring those monies. So we also improve our international relations, and we also make sure that those international events are fully covered and not paid by your membership. At this point, you are paying for all that. So this is very, very important, that we need financial knowledge on the board. We need the board members to be more educated on the budget. They need to be more educated on how things are going and ask questions on any variances. If you tell me that you budget $100,000 for something and you spend $300,000, you have to ask the question, and they need to cut somewhere else. It's very important. The second thing, what I really want to focus on succession planning. It's important for all organizations to have new leadership. We need to develop our new leaders. We are very, very smart. Fencing is the smartest sport out there. And I bet that most of you are gonna agree with me. We have a lot of Ivy Leaguers. We have very good target school participants. We have great experts in coaches from different countries. It's very diverse. It's very large. It's a lot of strength in our community. We need to tap into those expertise and make sure that our committees are staffed by these people and reduce the number of committees. Right now we have 22 committees. We don't need 22 committees. We need half of that. So that's very important that we are streamlining this, because when you distribute decision making, then all this information goes up and you end up with 80-page documents at the board level. That's happening next week, where they have no idea what they are voting for. You're going to end up like in the US Senate. They have no idea what quirks are in the bill. You need to make sure that it's all streamlined. So it's very important that we have our leaders who are coming from our own community. And then I also would like to focus a lot on para fencing and veteran fencing. These groups are a little bit overlooked. We are changing their lives. People over 40, they want to be active. They want to give back. They have money. They have time. They really enjoy fencing. There are parents who are involved with fencing now, and they want to try fencing. Let's get them involved. Let's get them active, and let's build a community that even bigger and bigger for veterans. Para fencing, we can win so many medals internationally. There are different grants for that group. We can focus on those grants. We can change their lives. And I want to make sure that they get the support what they deserve as well. And going back to the bylaw changes, I just looked at the agenda for next week, and they are attempting to change the bylaws to have more independent, give access to independent directors to be chairs of US Fencing. We really need to focus on this, because you are taking away the membership's vote. You want to have elected people who know fencing to be running the organization, not special interest. We don't want fencing tournaments in areas where there is no fencing, but special interests are pushing those locations. That's why we have fencing tournaments in certain areas. So want to make sure that all those decisions are based on data and accessibility, making sure the cost-benefit analysis supports where we are doing fencing tournaments, and people can go in and out quickly. So kids don't miss school, parents don't miss work, and people can get back to their life, whether they are referees, tournament organizers, or others supporting fencing. So we need to be data-driven. We need to be, as mentioned before, non-political. We need to be making sure that we're making our decisions solidly on finances and accessibility for our community. So those are my priorities.
Great, great. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that the representatives from both para-fencing and veteran fencing are here today, representing
Thank you.
themselves, and also representing the voice for the group. So yeah, just want to mention that. Okay, so let's move on to the third question that we asked all the candidates. So from your view, what is USA Fencing's role in fencing, and what are the most important stakeholders in the fencing circle, and why? So, like to hear again first from Mr. Giva.
Yeah, no, I believe that the main role of USA Fencing is, with no particular order, but I would say organize fencing tournaments and events, support club and membership, reach out to sponsor, reach out to NCAA, and promote fencing in social media, on TV, and other outlets. This is what the I believe the USFA office is supposed to do. You know what? The interesting thing that many years ago, actually, and I was chatting with my international coach friends, coaches, and I was saying, guys, you know what? Look, I'm very proud of USA Fencing because our office really, we have like high performance director, we have like squad manager, we have a board and maybe a few other members, and look how well we do. Look how many results we bring from international tournaments. And all of a sudden, not all of a sudden, but over the years now we have like offices much bigger than than needed. I completely agree with Maria that I don't understand when I look at the office and new position. I just don't understand why and what for. So why we talking about some subject that not related, the office talking about some subject that not related to fencing, and trying to implement some policies that has nothing to do with fencing. So again, the role of the office, the role of the board of director, primarily role is to promote the sport of fencing, organize tournament, and support club and membership. And we run now. The second part of the question is what are the most important stakeholders? No, of course, clubs. I mean, USFA run as a non-profit organization, which is fine. However, in order to be successful, I believe they have to think as a business. To think as a business, run as as a non-profit. When you think business, the first question you ask yourself, who brings money? And we have two entities, right? We have money coming from the Olympic Committee. We have money coming from clubs. So we do need to support, first of all, these are the most important stakeholders: clubs, coaches, and fencing parents, who actually pay the bills in those clubs. Now, coaches will produce top international athletes, and this is when the money from the Olympic Committee will come. The money from Olympic Committee is not coming if you don't have results. But again, if we see the chain where it started from the parents who pay the bill, to the club. The club pay a USFA membership. The club bring, for example, my club alone at Summer National brings over 100 fencers. We're talking about $20,000 we're bringing just Summer Nationals, which will support referees and officials there. Imagine that we have like a lot of big clubs like this. We'll have much more money. This is where we need to invest. This is the most important to our stockholders. And when you talk to those who bring money, I mean, you have to respect these people. You have to address the issues. You need to listen to the voices, the problem, and try to see how USFA has to see how we can help clubs to be more successful, how we can help coaches more successful, how we're going to talk to parents, because these people paying your bills. But right now, what I don't like that our officials count down to us, to coaches, parents, and clubs owners, like we are the owners, but it's actually vice versa. We are those who bring the money, and I believe we deserve. We don't need to be like, put us on the podium. I mean, just respect, respect our contribution to this organization. So this is what I think missing today, and need to be reinstalled, I think.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Ms. Giva. Ms. Payne?
Yes, I believe the board needs to be setting the policies, the strategy for the organization, and the tone on the top. It's very, very important. People sometimes miss that portion, that the tone of the top is the one that really leads an organization. If the tone of the top that I want to support the clubs, I want to support my athletes, I want to support my referees and tournament organizers, then anything else what you do under that, committees, staff, others, need to line up with that vision and with that direction. So that's very, very important. Who is sitting in the board, and how much do they know about fencing, how much they care about fencing, and what is the direction they are setting. So that's what the board's supposed to do, setting the tone on the top. The second, who are the stakeholders? The people around us who are involved with fencing. Talking about the coaches, they are number one. They are the one who start and first face the athletes and teach them the first moves. Without them, there are no fencing. So coaches, then athletes who are showing up in the clubs, the parents and others who are supporting financially this sport, and then you have the college teams, you have the referees, tournament organizers. We are all one group, and those are our stakeholders. And when we are members, we are board members, we need to represent them. We need to listen to them. We don't represent one group or another. I'm a fencer. I'm not representing only fencing. I'm also a mother of a fencer. I'm not only representing the parents. I'm representing the whole organization. So my role is a little bit different in that role as a board member. And that's why I'm striving to this position, because I'm in the audit committee member, and I can scream and I can say the financials are not good, and I can tell everybody this is what we need to change. But in a board level, I have more decision-making power, and I can set that tone, and I can push down that level of decision so others under me can implement our vision and represent the stakeholders who are, again, our members in our community.
Okay, all right, thank you, Ms. Payne. Okay, so the next question, nowadays, because things are so political and in this country, and some of the questions that should be common sense or should not be political became political today. So I'm going to ask a very hard question because it's related to fencing, it's related to sports, and it's not theoretical. It has real life cases. So I wanted to ask the number 4 question. What is your view on transgender female athletes who are biologically male at birth, competing in the women's category in tournaments? So I will invite Ms. Giva to answer the question first again.
Yeah, to me, it's pretty simple. Biological male, I believe, not supposed to enter female competition. That's why we have female sport and we have male sport. It's also that's why we had like Title IX, and it's directly contradict with Title IX. Now I know, like, we look that, on the government level, they trying to modify Title IX. That's why and once they modify again, we have to address these issues. That's why I believe we don't have to stick with politics and do what's right for us, for our sport. Let me give you, and again, I'm not against transgender. I cannot even possibly be against transgender people. You know, we're all human beings. I truly believe that all human beings deserve, you know, attention and love and respect. However, the vast majority of US fencers are not transgender athletes. So how about their rights? How about rights of these girls who came and who wants to compete, who wants to qualify for world championships or Olympic Games? What about their rights? I hear that, you know, a transgender athlete doesn't have significant advantage. This is not true. They do have significant advantage in sport, almost in any sport. And that's why we have two male and female sports. I can give you one example. You know, one of my students will qualify for Olympic Games, because the reason I'm bringing this example, because I hear also voices saying, okay, you know, how many athletes will go? They're not really gonna change the shape, you know, like of women's AP in that case. Not true. Before Olympic Games, we had last qualifier tournament, Division I national championships. And one of my athletes, luckily, she already qualified for Olympics, but this was the last qualified tournament. If she would not do well in the previous international tournament, that will be her a ticket, you know, to Olympics. And in the top 16, she met a biological male and she lost to him. I came to the, you know, appropriate people in the office, and they asked, guys, do you see what's happening? This is Olympic qualifier. And we have like one of our top female fencers who won World Cups, who made a US team, US world team 6-7 times, 6-8 times, even more, I think. And she loses to biological male. And by the way, that fencer never showed up before. So I don't believe it's fair. It's to our female fencers. I understand that we need to address transgender people needs, but we need to do it different way. We cannot. I don't believe. Again, I repeat my statement. I don't believe that biological male should enter female tournaments. I don't even understand why we're coming to this discussion. It's so obvious, at least to me. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Mrs. Payne, what's your view on this?
Yeah, so it's a very, very small population who are transgender. When we're looking at whether, you know, a countrywide or fencing wide, it's a very, very small population, but it does get like a lot of attention for sure. I do fully believe in inclusivity. I believe that transgender should be able to train anywhere they want with anybody who wants to train with them. We have a lot of small tournaments in Florida. I'm in South Florida. We have very small tournaments. So we have a lot of combined tournaments. We call them open tournaments, when men and women compete together. Actually, I myself was state champion in the men's category. Interestingly enough, I was a very strong fencer back in the 90s. I won the Sunshine State Games amongst the men. However, I feel it's unfair. It's really unfair to have biological male competing against women. I experienced it myself. It's really not an equal field. If you put the best female fencer against let's say my son, I'm like 5'4", I'm quite petite, he's 6'1". We get into a close combat situation, it gets dangerous. Besides that he's winning, I'm looking at the safety of the female athletes. I think I would like to keep it separate, male versus and female. And if it's preferred by the membership, and that's what we see that a lot of them would like to, we can have a category of open category and let them compete together. I'm not against that at all.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. So that is That's the first political related topic, I guess. And the next one, I think is what people see today. The number 5 question, what is your view on USA fencing to be a platform to promote political agendas? For example, prioritizing cities for tournaments that support women's abortion rights. There are many of those cases, the policies that we can see. Should USA fencing implement policies with strong political preferences? Why or why not? So, Mr. Diva, can you start again?
Yeah, like I stated before, our sport should stay away from politics, and we need to care about the sport. And why no? I can give you a few simple examples. A lot of things going in the world. We have a war between Russia and Ukraine. We support Ukraine. Tomorrow we will decide to support Russia. Now we have like Israel-Hamas war. Whom do we support? We have Jews and Arabs here in our fencing communities. We have in Asia. We have now have tension between China and Taiwan. Why we should pick sides, why we should support somebody, and it's, I believe, and the reason I think we have to stay, yes, we all have our opinions, we have to discuss this, but we don't have to put this on US policies. And one of the reasons, another reason, it just divides us. It divides us, and it doesn't help. It doesn't help to fencing. Each one of us has his or her political position. We can again talk about this. We can discuss it on the lunches, but we have to stay away when we are running USA fencing, or when we choose locations. I mean, the locations, abortion rights has not. I'm not necessarily against or for abortion. It's not the question. The question is that it has nothing to do with fencing. We have to choose our locations properly according. One of the criteria supposed to be, is it safe for our children? Is it, for example, we had like youth tournament. I don't remember. It was a NAC or it was like. Summer nationals we had like in Phoenix, which is one of the top cities, like for child trafficking. Or we had like tournament in St. Louis, it's a murder capital, like in the United States, and etc., etc. I understand that the budget might be an issue, the cost of the venue might be issue, but this supposed to be the criteria when we choose the venue. For example, if we want to do a youth NAC, in the past, I was very, very pleased to see either like Orlando or Anaheim, for kids, so they can go with the parents to Disneyland, Now, if it's summer, let's choose maybe locations on the north somewhere. It's not that hot. When it's winter, maybe we should choose locations somewhere in Texas or in Florida. And etc. These are the criteria we're supposed to use for the when we're choosing the venue: the cost, sufficient, and safety. For the fencing community. Yeah, I think I answered this question. Yeah, this is my answer.
Okay, all right. Sounds good. Well, I guess second part of the question is that should the USA fencing implement policies with strong political preferences? From what you just said, my understanding, I think maybe you can confirm that, is you do not think that USA fencing should implement policies with political ties, right? The political views of the management should not have a say or should not directly impact.
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, yeah, it's a free country. We can have like different opinions and different political views, but we're not supposed to, because sooner or later it will be one-sided political questions. Whoever will be in the office, if it's a left-wing, like political representative. So we will have like all lefty agenda in the office. If it's like right-wing or extreme right-wing, then we will have like all right politicians there. I mean, why even to go? We don't have to put this policy. We don't need these policies there.
Okay, all right, thank you for your confirmation. Mrs. Payne?
Yes, so I do not believe that political agendas belong in the boardroom and part of policy making or strategic direction. We have a very diverse community. Inclusive. When we talk about inclusivity, we're talking about representing everybody with those different views. And politics is one of the things that like really divides. We need to make sure that we stay away from that. We make our decisions based on the numbers, for example, and accessibility, making sure our members can get to a place where we have a NAC, make sure that it makes financial sense, make sure safety is part of it, make sure we have the diverse area covered. So we have the Northeast, the Southwest, different areas. So we have to make those decisions based on those more objective areas and not personal agendas, feelings, or views, because that's not gonna bring our community together, and we're not gonna come up with the right decision. So that's what I believe in.
All right, thank you. Okay, so well, let's move on to the next question. Number 6. I think this is more related to what we experience these days, and so I hope that you probably see that too. The question is that do you see the growing tensions between the referees on one side and the fencers, the parents, the coaches on the other side in the tournaments? If so, what do you think the reasons might be, and what do you plan to change that?
Yeah, no,
Eva?
yeah, no, of course, yeah. Like you said, the tension, unfortunately, the tension is there. And the way right now the board or committee, I don't know who takes care of this right now, maybe referees committee, trying to resolve this problem is to strict coaches, like and club owners and parents to give more power to referees. And this will be, I'm laughing, but it's not actually funny because it will be even worse, the reason these tensions happening, it's very simple reason. So we have a lot of coaches who dedicate the time and effort and professional knowledge to develop develop the fencers and bring that to the tournament. For us, for coaches and for parents and for club owners, this is kind of a final exam where we see our work, how it was done, and of course we are very sensitive to any mistakes that lead to our fencers lose the bout, for example, especially if it's a qualifier tournament. Now, everyone does mistakes, and I'm not saying that all coaches, we have a lot of jerks among us, a lot of coaches that are jumping, on the referees and arguing with, including myself sometimes. However, you should understand where this tension comes from, and you should understand, you have to find the solution, how to reduce this tension. This is not the right way, I believe, to give more power to the referees or to the coaches. We need to create a dialogue. We need to create a dialogue between 3 entities: coaches, referees on the field, top referees who are familiar with the international arena, and top coaches and top athletes. And I do believe it will help. I think that it will help to share information and, first of all, create trust. How it can be done? It could be done during next, like short seminars, like half an hour, 1 hour before the day starts. Just share different ideas. Just show we have experience. I have a lot of experience with international tournaments. I want to show, just present some videos, how they ref abroad and how we do it here. And again, we have a lot of good referees, we have a lot of bad referees. Same thing abroad. Not all international referees are very good. Some of them really bad. The question is that the problem, I mean, is that we ref here differently than abroad. And I would say the approach here in the United States is we're looking for applying the rule. A lot of referees here looking to apply the rule, to show that, okay, I know how to ref. While abroad, most very often referees looking how to avoid the touch. And this is a different starting point. Now, I would like to share it with our referees, also, the fact that that our referees paid like a little bit over $100 a day. Are you kidding me? It's like, it's too little. I mean, what do you expect from referees who standing there from coming to the venue 7 in the morning to get ready, and sometimes leaving at 8, 9 in the evening? Are you paying them like $100? You should raise the fees. And once you're raising the fees, you also demand like, some professional development. I spoke with some referees, and a few of them told me, Andrei, do you know how much time I spent with the mentorship program from the higher referees? I like, how many? 0. So a lot of referees, I hear complaints that they don't, once they pass the exam, they on their own. They don't have an adequate mentorship program. At least this is what I hear from some of the referees. So this is supposed to be done to raise the refereeing level. Now, so these are the steps. And again, I don't have all the answers, but these are the first step we need to do. We are not enemies. We need to create the dialogue. We need to start talking. We need to, because right now, the institutions that, local institutions that teach our referees, I believe is outdated. It's the same people who were there 20, 30 years ago. And I believe some of them teaching our referees wrong. I'm sorry, but it is. Like when they teach them, for example, I myself also rated referee many years ago, and I passed one of those exams, and I remember they were teaching us, okay, don't communicate with the, don't communicate with the coaches or parents, keep them away. And this is what I see, talk to my hand, Of course, look, it's a simple adjustment. Abroad, we're all friends, we talk to the referees, there is no problem. The referee explain his or her action and we move forward. But again, think about this. When I'm a coach and I see a wrong call and I'm asking a question, and when I see the hand or just referee ignores me, it's fundamentally wrong. Professionally, all I expect that you will answer my question briefly, just like in one. I made this call because of this. We can discuss after the bout if it's right or whatever, But first of all, show respect to coaches who brings the fencers to the tournament. Second, need to learn how to communicate with each other. These are the first steps which will create the right and much more positive atmosphere, I believe.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Mrs. Spain?
Yes, so I do see the tension as well, and I think there are different reasons for that. The sport is growing. If you're looking at the Summer Nationals, we have 12,000 entries. We have entries of 4, 5, almost a total of 556 or something for épée. The tournaments are large. They are trying to maximize again, the money. Therefore, they are hiring referees for 10 days. For 10 days, to expect somebody to make good calls from beginning at 8 o'clock until sometimes 10 at night, it's impossible. We are all humans. It's impossible. You need to have more referees, but we don't have enough. So we are growing tremendously as an organization, but the infrastructure is not keeping up with this growth. We need to have referees, and this is the only sport where you have to make a judgment call. It's not like, okay, the ball was in and out, it's not that type of judgment call like in tennis or in soccer. You are taught every time you are making a call, you are making a judgment call. That person started an action, somebody did make a mistake, then you have to apply the rule. It's real time, it's fast. When you're looking at especially men's fencing or high level fencing, it's super fast. You're making decisions on the spot. So it's a difficult job to do. I'm a referee myself. I'm a fencer. I had many bad calls against me over time, and there are bad calls against my son. And as a parent, it's even more hurtful. So I understand that tension is growing, and it's coming from that. We also being told as referees, as Mr. Gabo had mentioned, that you need to keep everybody away from the strip. But there are reasons for that. We cannot be talking to each parent and each coach and everybody after each call what you had made. I try to make some time for everybody in my pool, and if they ask questions, I explain how do I see how they can potentially improve. So making clear certain actions, but there is the time constraints that to run the tournaments, referees don't have time to get into conversations. So that's like another thing. In order to kind of bridge this gap, we do need to have more dialogues. We need to have dialogues with all levels of referees. The top levels might understand it, the lower level not. And those lower levels who are gonna make your kid go to the next round or not. The pool tournaments are very important in the pool. How you do in a pool? You can go to the top or you're gonna be in the bottom, right? So you have referees, but they don't have the same skill level. They don't have the same knowledge. We don't even have enough referees to judge very consistently across the board, so that consistency is missing. So we definitely need more education. We need to and we need to improve the referees from the ground level up, and they need more mentoring and continuing education. So I agree with all of that. But it also goes back again, it goes back to the financials, it goes back to the tournaments, how large they are. Should we restrict the numbers who can enter the tournaments and have better referees? We need to pay the referees more. So it's a complex problem that we need to approach from multiple direction. We need to have the coaches involved, the athletes involved, the referees involved, and we also need to get a little bit of input from the parents. And also we need to make sure that the parents understand that they might know a little bit about fencing, but they might not be the expert yet. So we need to make sure that they get educated, and they get educated through the clubs and the coaches. So it doesn't have to come to the neck that the parents come up and then tell me that my son did a pair repost and you are cheating. I'm not cheating. The other one did a beat attack, right? So those conversations needs to be done also in the clubs. We need help from the clubs and the coaches to educate the parents as well. So we can all work together to make it much better.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Ms. Penny. I think the takeaway from both of your answers are encouraging more dialogues, right? It's more conversations, more dialogues, more training on both referees and possibly the fencers and the parent side, so that they can understand each other much better during the tournament. I think also another thing is the takeaway. Both of you said that the referees are very underpaid, and we need to have a better financial to support the youth referees compensation, so that to pay them decent salary, and so they can hire more referees, so we can we don't have to have somebody, we don't overwork our referees, right? 12 hours stay 10 days straight. So that's not sustainable. Thank you both. And so let's move on to the next question. It's also a opinion question. So today, DEI stands for diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's part of the USA Fencing's official policy. So what is your opinion on DEI within USFA, and especially as a USFA's official policy has a I think a DI department for that. What is your take on this, Ms. Giva?
Yeah, definitely the USFA should promote and support DA when possible. However, the key word is when possible. However, it should never become a policy or guideline that the office will use to appoint officials or board members. It reminds me, you know, the Soviet Union when I came. This situation reminds me kind of the Soviet Union where I came from. Vladimir
没有
Lenin.
太热了，平时比上回可难多了。
There's some interruption there. Yeah, Vladimir Lenin used to say, if the housekeeper cannot rule the country, don't worry, we'll teach her or him. And we know where the Soviet Union collapsed and where it ended up. I don't want this to happen to the USFA. Every time you put all these positions, in any organization, including USFA, supposed to be strictly according to the qualification of the person who ran for named position. If you have expertise and you're good expert in finance, yes, you go to the financial committee. If you're a good coach who, not on paper, you know, you're a good coach who known for producing top national and international athletes, you have to serve on the coaching committee, and etc., etc. If you're a top referee, you go to the referee committee. If you're involved in fencing, you have to go to the boards. Right now, I see in the office, we have so many people who never fenced before, who, again, for some positions, maybe not that important if we're talking about strictly about finance, but for some positions, it's really, really important that we choose a knowledgeable professional people with the solid fencing background. And again, I repeat myself, all this is not supposed to be a policy. Yes, we want to include, like, let me give you example with the, like USFA creating another office for diversity inclusion, and then have some representatives there. My question is, what these people do, what they will do. I mean, how they gonna improve situation in my club, for example. Look, I live in Houston. Houston is the most diverse city in the United States. We have more than 120 different nationalities here. By default, my club will be a diverse club because, of course, as a club owner, I never will say, if I'm a good club owner, if I'm a good businessman, I will never say no to anybody who comes. It doesn't matter your skin color, it doesn't matter your sexual orientation, it doesn't matter your political view. All I'm asking you to do, guys, please don't talk about these things in my club, because what you came here, you came to learn fencing, and you are very, very welcome. Doesn't matter who you are. And by default, there will be diverse class. The matter of fact that actually this year I got, or last year, I don't remember, I got the award from USFA fencing. I got like the most diverse club in the United States. But again, this is not, I didn't do anything specific for this. I just opened my doors to everybody who wants to learn fencing. But I have this opportunity. Like if we live somewhere, if the club somewhere in Alaska or in Oklahoma, you know, like, or in North Dakota, what diversity are you talking about? You will have what you have there, unfortunately. Now, what can be done, though, is one of the things I would propose to the board of directors is to clone Peter Westbrook Foundations, for example, to open more affiliates nationwide. You know, go talk to Peter, ask him how did you do you have some ambassadors you can send, you know, to other states? Can we create such foundations in other in other states, so clubs can benefit from them. This is, I think, practical way to make more people from under privileged communities to come and join fencing, but somebody has to pay for this. I mean, if you ask, if I'm running the club and you ask me, okay, let's put some scholarships, how? Where I get this money? I mean, yes, if I have such foundations, I will be more than happy to do this. And this is the way to do it, for example. But again, back to this question is that in order to do all these things, in order to make all these right decisions, we need professionals in the office and people who we have to choose people on position in the office or in board of directors according to the professional skills, not according to the skin color, sexual or political orientation.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Payne.
Yeah, so diversity, equity, and inclusivity to me means that equal opportunities to all. It doesn't mean that we are all equal and everybody is getting indifferent of results. You have to have an input. You have to make a difference. You need to contribute. So that's automatically going to ensure that the right people get the right jobs. They are doing the best. We are finding the best candidates for each position, whether it's a committee position, whether it's a staff position, whether it's a board position. So we have to keep to a merit-based system. I believe that everybody has different ideas. It's good to listen to everybody. We all represent our very diverse membership, but we want to make sure that, and we give equal opportunity to everybody, but we want to make sure that the right person is being selected.
All right, thank you. Okay, so the next question is down. So again, this is one of the such an important topic in NCAA. This is, I would say, one of the primary reasons why most of the fencers or most of the families joining the fencing sport today is the NCAA. So what do you plan to do to help increase the college fencing teams in NCAA? So Mr. Kiva?
Yeah, like I stated before, it's critically important to create more NCAA teams, fencing teams, because this is the future of fencing. That's why a lot of fencers, a lot of parents decide to choose fencing over traditional American sports. Without NCAA, we will not have these numbers. That's why it's supposed to be one of the first USA fencing priorities to reach out to this school. What I mean is, like, for example, here in Texas, we have only one school in San Antonio. We have varsity team only there. Many other states don't have varsity teams either. I'm trying with all my reputation, biggest club, with all my champions, but I'm a private person, you know, like I'm coming from a private business, you know, I'm coming from the class. It's hard for me to, and for anyone in my position to reach out to university. I'm not official for them. I can imagine how many coaches trying to reach out there. It's completely different. So what I'm planning to do is try to build a team, official USA fencing team that will reach out to these universities, sending them letters, you know, where they express the interest to build such team, explain them the benefits of fencing. And one of the benefits of fencing, we have a lot of what to sell. Unlike many other sports, fencing is a very intelligent sport. So our fencers usually, you know, they finish universities, they show good grades, so it's pretty secure for university take a fence or create a fencing team. Also, it's a relatively small budget compared to football, basketball, or other sports. Which is many universities maybe even not aware about this. But imagine if you have official letter or official representatives coming to that university, setting up meetings and talking, you know, it will be completely a different outcome, I believe. Maybe not, but at least we need to try. So the plan is to create a working group, and this group will be responsible for reaching out to US universities to make contacts, explain them the benefits, meet with them, send them emails, advise them about the coaches, etc., etc. This is the first step. After that, we'll see. I mean, first we need to start, and then we'll see how it goes.
Okay, so when you say that group, I just wanted to understand, are you proposing to have a NCAA committee in the USA fencing structure?
Yeah, you can call it, I'm trying to refrain from the word committee, you know, it's a kind of a brainstorming working group, you know, like aggressive working group that said that contains some specialists in that field. For example, former or existing NCAA coaches, head coaches, you know, those who served and worked at universities 10, 15, 20 years, you know, we can learn from them. We can set up such a group, you know, maybe, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 people. But again, it's supposed to be knowledgeable people, those who currently work or worked at NCAA teams. Some financial specialists, you know, some, in this case, maybe people with influence, you know, some important people that universities will be listening to. Maybe some local senators can be involved. Like an Air Force Academy, you know, in order to get there, you need a reference letter from the senator, right? A lot of other ideas. Yes, it's supposed to be that committee or work group with a very strong specialists who will reach out to this university within the USFA. Yes, it's supposed to be USA fencing group. Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. Mrs. Payne?
Yeah, so I believe that it's a two-pronged issue here. First, yes, we have to have fencers, we have to have coaches, we have to have US fencing supporting it. However, we also need support from the NCAA. So right now, you know, when I fenced in NCAA, we had much less fencers and the level of fencing was much weaker. I mean, I had a 98% winning percentage at Notre Dame. You're talking about Maria Zabunic and Lee Kiefer cannot beat my record, okay? There is a reason for that. There was no fencing back in the 90s. However, now it's so competitive to even make it to the NCAAs, you're gonna have Olympians who did not fence because they did not qualify to fence in NCAAs, and they're going to the Olympics. We need to expand the pool at the NCAA level as well. So besides what had mentioned that we need to have either a committee or a strategic direction of focusing on NCAA fencing, we also need to have influence in the NCAA by the current coaches and other means to expand the field from the 24 fencers per weapon to a larger field. It's a very strong program. You have international, sometimes it's stronger than the international World Cup or World Championship, but you are looking at like top fencers being recruited by colleges from abroad and also from the US. It's very, very competitive to make it to the NCAAs. To win a medal, it's close to impossible at this point. So you want to make sure that you have that support as well. So that two-pronged had to be, you know, in place, because you cannot just do one. You have to do the other as well, so we can have a successful program and grow the programs at the NCAA level.
Yeah, absolutely agreed. Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you, Ms. Payne. Okay, so the next question, because I see that there are more questions asked in the in the chat group also. So we want to go over the pre-compiled list of the questions, then move on the ad hoc questions that the community asked during this meeting. So the next question, I think both candidates, you both already touched briefly on this. The question is, USA Fencing has the most enrolling members in history, and the national tournaments have increasing number of participants every year. Yet the costs imposed on the fencers, parents, the clubs are still continuously going up. Do you have any plan to improve the financial situation for USA Fencing? Again, same, Mr. Giva.
Yeah, no, yes, like I mentioned before, my wish, and this is what I would like to do, is to, if elected, to make sure that we don't pay more, or if possible, even try to reduce the tournament payment, because right now it's ridiculous. It's over $200 payment if you fence one event. And so, but right now, look, this is my wish. This is what we want to do, and I think any reasonable person would like to do this. But I need to see first, in order to answer this question, I need to see the budget first. So I would like to see the budget, to see how it's distributed, where we can cut, where we can, move funds from one spending to another. But first I need to see the budget. But yes, this is my wish, but I don't have a solid answer right now because I don't see how the money is spent. I need to learn first how money is spent, and then I can make a correct decision. And these decisions I make every day at my club and on other jobs that I hold before becoming full-time fencing coach. I mean, this is one of my specialties. I'm running business. I deal with finance all the time, but I need to see the picture first, and then I can give a better answer. But yes, the general direction, I would like to move, reduce the tournament fee, club fees, make sure that legal clubs can afford USFA membership with a good, liability coverage.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Giva. Mrs. Payne, this is right in your arena, so please.
Yeah. So I do that. That's my number one priority. This is why I'm running. I do have the financial expertise. I do have the corporate experience. I done it. I've been there. I advised boards. I consulted boards, Fortune 500 companies, was part of a big 4 accounting firms, run a large division. So I believe I can make that difference. And this is, I'm passionate about the sport. I love fencing, and I'm really concerned about its future. Again, on the audit committee, I'm not on the budget committee, unfortunately. I do not see all the planning part. I only see the final numbers. I see large variances. I see some questionable items that need more addressing. I would love to see the entire picture so better decisions could be made and the monies could be channeled back towards the clubs and the coaches. Hopefully we can reduce some insurances. Some of the clubs are really struggling with that. I did talk to, Amgad Marcelo's coach, Amgad Kazbak, who has a most successful women's foilist, a gold medalist, and he's struggling to pay for a fee of the insurance. So that should not happen. If these clubs are struggling with that, then we need to come up with subsidies. We need to come up with merit-based subsidies for these clubs so they don't die out and those coaches don't go crazy and stress so they cannot compete with the others. So that's my number one priority: financial stability and making sure that the monies are going to the right place. And we're gonna also need more cooperation with the foundation, the fundraisers, and so on, so we can help those clubs and those special programs.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay, so I want to talk to the audience that I know that this is a very diversified community. I think we're the representatives or the interest parties from all stakeholder groups here. So if the candidates' questions or the questions we have asked so far have not addressed your particular concern, please ask that in the chat group. I see a lot of people are asking questions now, so you can ask your question and get answer, because nobody is able to capture all the questions that are from our interested parties. So, but this is the opportunity for you to voice, whatever the questions that you have, and voice whatever the concern you have, and let both candidates answer your concerns, address your questions, so you can, have a better understanding of the candidates and make the best educated guess for the election, for the voting. Okay, so let me move on to the last pre-compiled questions. I think this is pretty much all. The last question is, if elected, what are other initiatives you will take in addition to the items mentioned above? Again, start from Ms. Kiba.
Yeah, in addition to what I mentioned before, I would say it's one thing I don't understand, and is the current coaching education program. They call it coaching education program, but I don't see how it's create better coaches. I mean, it creates a lot of titles. We have now much more certified coaches. We have maestros, but not are they gonna improve and raise further, the level of fencing in the United States? I don't think so. I think where the best coaches coming from, I mean, they're coming from the mentorship program. So one of the thing I would like to do, I want to understand what this coaching took, and I have an idea. I already submitted it to the office before about the mentorship education program, when the clubs can take top clubs can take care, of developing like new coaches, so young coaches. But again, I don't want to go to details. I'm just saying, yeah, this is something that we discuss with other national coaches, and many of us agree that the current situation, I mean, we need to improve this, and we need to implement some different approaches, for the coaching education program. Also, I don't understand, and I would like to understand this, the insurance program for clubs. So this is the other area where I would like to improve, because right now small clubs cannot afford USFA membership because of the cost, from my understanding, because of the cost of the insurance, because of some demands, from the insurance company. Is there only one insurance company? Can we look for some alternative insurance program or some alternative approaches? So this is another area where I would like to, to explore and possibly make it better. And the rest I think I already discussed before.
Okay, all right, thank you. Ms. Tang?
I was thinking about addressing maybe the health insurance side of this. Clubs and coaches, we have an aging population. A lot of the coaches came back in the 90s when I came from Eastern Europe, and others. And as you age, everybody has health problems. These coaches are not provided with proper health insurance. They do not have health insurance, and they are doing a very demanding, physically demanding job. It's mentally and physically demanding. I really think that we need to take better care of them. I did work for insurance companies and advise them as well. And they're looking for about 5,000 members to have a self-insured group that actually makes sense. So you're not taking too much risk. We do not have that many coaches, about 1,300 at this point. But I think we can work with the Olympic Committee and others to to create a larger group and come up with a self-insurance policy, so or coaches are protected as they age. So I think that would be a really significant improvement for their well-being. So I would like to focus on that.
Yeah, I just like, excuse me, I just want to support Maria's, yeah, it's absolutely, I 100% agree what you're saying, because a lot of clubs, it will attract coaches to start to pursue coaching career, because when they apply to other jobs, they give some benefits, you know, like they give like insurance coverage, like 401k, whatever. But a lot of clubs, majority of US clubs cannot offer, even my club cannot offer good a medical coverage, you know, for my coaches. It's a very good point, and I think USFA can help with this. Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Thank you both. That concludes our pre-compiled questions. So now we're moving on to the questions that people asked during the meeting. So just wanted to emphasize those are the questions those are ad hoc questions, right? The candidates did not have a time to prepare, but these are the questions that, we wanted to address. And these are the questions that we did not know. But these are the questions that, I hope the candidates can answer based on your instincts. That probably is a better way for the community to know you. So the first question is that both of you mentioned that candidates mentioned that there's a shortage on the referees, and it's hard to expect referees to make perfect calls as they work, 8 to 10, long day. So could candidates consider to lower the age limit for the referees at the national events? For example, right now, let me try to open this. For example, right now, I think the official age limit was 18-year-old. Can we lower it to 14? If the referee has obtained at least a B rating or above. So 14 is 4 years younger than the current 18-year threshold, but it takes usually many year training and participation in competitions for a fencer to obtain a B rating. So by requiring a teenager's referee to have a good rating, so we can ensure that the young referees are qualified to ref at the national level. So if this can be done, I think the supply of the referee candidates will increase to help to resolve the short of the referee problem. Okay, I guess that's, I hope both of you understand what this question is, and can you provide your answer, Ms. Giva?
I was reading, I'm sorry, because I was reading the question regarding the...
You can see the question yourself, right? It's in the chat.
First one from Fred Wang.
Yes.
Yeah, first of all, I see here the first question was asked here, a proposition to lower the age from like 18 to 14. It's nice, yeah, however, it could be done, but again, we need to check, liability insurance is a problem here, it's a minor, if you're younger than 18, and you come to ref, you will be under minor age category, which involves some additional. I'm not sure about if it can be done or not, but I'm just telling you it's not that simple. Maybe it is, but we need to explore this opportunity. Yes, now one of the things what was done, and I think still happening to this day, with the saber, they have like a cadre, the same, almost the same, like 80% probably saber referees are the same people, and they go from year to year, and this is how they're also improving the saber skill. And all majority of saber coaches, I believe, at least kind of agree with them already. Okay, this is our cadre, let them ref. So probably the problem, for example, I'm sorry, in EPI, for some reason, we get like, if you have like, if you right away weapon referee from a saber or foil, you automatically assign to EPI. but referees need AP education. It's completely different today, you know, like it's so many nuances in AP that actually foil and saber referees missing, and this is where the tension, additional tensions coming from. Okay, so and it's back to referees education. The AP referees, I'm not talking about foil and saber, I'm not a specialist there, but with AP referees, they need input from top athletes and coaches, because it's a lot of conventions in AP refereeing that our referees should know. Now the idea of young referees, yes. For example, if you have like, we just need to check if it's appropriate from the some insurance and other points of view. But yes, I like a lot the idea that, you know, if you have like a youth event, youth 10, 12, and 14, and the referees will be also like, you know, like, for example, 14 and 15 years old, knowledgeable referees will take care of the youth 10 events. It will be very cute, very nice, very it will help to our sport. It will be very friendly atmosphere, yes, as long as we can resolve the problem of minors doing the adult job.
Okay. Okay. All right. Ms. Payne.
Yeah, so yeah, there is the issue with minors being serving certain hours. So there are labor laws, there are liability issues, there is cost associated with those shortened hours, what they can provide. So it is quite a complex problem that the referee committee really need to get provide some input on, so we can make really well educated and comprehensive decision on. I know locally here in Florida we have small tournaments, and people would not be able to afford the tournaments if we had like a top referees flying in. We just don't have enough referees here. We don't have enough fencers. So we do use the local kids to referee and help out, but those are local events. They are just developmental. They are not counting into any national points. They are not counting for any national teams, and they are not at the NAC or national level. So in the grassroots level, yes, you know, I think it's a good idea. I think it's good if clubs are developing those referees, just like when we send a cadre for a cadet international event, we are required after a certain number of people to send a referee. So maybe we can have, you know, some from the clubs sending the referees or developing some of them to help the referee cadre. But I believe that it's really the referee committee who needs to provide an input so we can have better judgment on this.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. But so takeaway is that this is the question that needs to go down deeper and for more investigation, I think, to do more research on this. Simply lower the age will not be resolving the problem. But I think the training can be provided to maybe more fencers, adult fencers, maybe even parents, to increase the supply of the referees. We talked about those offlines before, so. Okay, so the next question is from a representative from the parafencing community. Is it okay that after 30 years, parafencing is still grassroots? Do you have any thoughts on why this is the case? Ms. Giva, this is particularly about parafencing.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, I know what grassroots mean, but what is the meaning of the question? I try to understand why it's not so developed yet still.
Yes.
Right.
No, unfortunately, because of the nature of our sport, there is a objective some reasons. One of the reasons is that fencing is a competitive sport, and all focus and our finance from the Olympic Committee. Also, by the way, now coming also for parafencing, and but usually when people come to our sport, they looking, you know, for results, and usually it's coming with the kids, little kids coming, you know, to fencing. And when you're little, very often you probably shy or your parents not allowed you to sometimes, you know, to compete or come to the sport because you have some disability. Very often our clients, if I may say, you know, like in para fencing, are those who fenced before and then lost the limbs, for example, maybe during the services, you know, like abroad or for some other, due to some accident, but they already were fencers and they want to continue fencing. But this is a very, very small group. And yes, I mean, if we will start advertising para fencing, I think a lot of people on the white community around the nation just not aware that you can fence being disabled, because, you know, fencing in their mind involves, you know, like arms, legs, you know, they probably don't see it. They probably not, we don't popularize this enough, you know, to reach out to other communities. Right now in para fencing, those who already been involved in fencing before, most of them, not not a lot of new, unless I'm mistaken, but I think this is the case. So what can be done? We need just a better advertising, you know, on the wide community for para fencing, and one of the steps were already, again, you know, the logo of USFA is already an Olympic logo. It's both, you know, fencing and para fencing, and nationwide, I personally see that, you know, it's much more awareness of para fencing and Olympic movements as well. So it might help probably, but we just need to reach out to the white community and involve non-fencers and explain them the benefit of this. I mean, this is the reason, I think, because other people just don't know about this. It's just communication problems, I think.
Mm. Well, indeed, I mean, for the people who, I mean, like myself, was never involved in para fencing, I barely watched it when I walked by in the tournaments. We had very little knowledge about para fencing, but I have to say that para fencing is a great sport. It's a life-changing sport for the people from
Absolutely,
the
yes.
capital community. I think they deserve our support. That they deserve a voice, a strong voice in the USA fencing. So Mrs. Payne, what's your take on this? I know you mentioned that in your statement.
Yes, absolutely. That, you know, again, para fencing is a life-changing activity for them, and it is not okay that we are still in the grassroots level after 30 years. And we can see that fencing increased tremendously, and it's a lot to do with the NCAA, right? The NCAA and getting the kids into the college and top colleges and so on. We don't have this type of push or pull on the para fencing side. I can say I have a friend who was the only person who won a medal in an able-body fencing and para fencing as well. As a para fencer, you might know that the para fencing is very well developed in Hungary, where I'm coming from. My coach was the one who started the program, and my friend who wrote a book about it, Pál Seker, as you might have heard of, he's the only person who won Paralympics medal and able-body Olympics medal, which is amazing if you think about it. And it was a lot of work to bring para fencing up in Hungary, and it's actually it's resulted from his accident that it became very popular. But you can see that today you have para fencers training together with able-bodied fencers. When my son went over there for a training camp, he was put in a wheelchair and he was sparring together with para fencers. They get different skills, and it's very difficult to do as an able-bodied fencer because you cannot keep the distance and so on. So both of you learn from that experience. So I think bringing back together these groups to practice together is one. Promoting the sport, like having the tone on the top and focusing on para fencing, and again looking for aids and support and sponsorship. There are many out there for this type of activities. So reaching out and finding that support and reaching out to that community, I think we can come up with a better program than what we have today. And hopefully even at the next Olympics, what we're going to have here in Los Angeles, we're going to have more medals. There is no reason why para fencing cannot win that many medals as able-bodied fencing. But we need to have the respect, we need to have the push for it, we need to put it in our strategic planning and look for the support, and not just the financial support, but having them training in a higher level and combining them even with our able-bodied fencers better.
Okay, all right, thank you. So I just wanted to add that we've already talked to this gentleman and from the parafencing. I think if you were elected this time, and we will encourage both of you talk to the gentleman and listen to what he has to say, and he
Absolutely.
really is a strong voice in this community, and can help USA fencing to improve the parafencing situation. The next one is it's a long one. It's more like a comment. I want to read it out because it is in line with what we support also. So this is the only group that come close to supporting the sanctity of women's fencing. I was accused on a social media platform moments ago by a coach named David Serra, who said I was anti-trans. Oh, by the way, I was attacked by that too. I mean, same comment. You can see that after we made a public statement on the social platform, and we got a lot of smearing and attacking. So that is this man's opinion, not any fact of mine. I'm a woman, yes, and a fencer, yes, who wants to compete in events pertinent to its title. How can a supporting organization get away with changing these parameters just on political bias or popular agenda? This is what driving this organization, not ethical, safe competition. How can they change reality for us? How can the needs, wants of a few override the needs, wants of many, many more? I feel pretty young some days. How can I fence? Why can I fence youth events? Right? It's basically it's the same logic. If you think you can do something just because you feel, then this world will be in chaos. Because feeling is one thing, objectivity is another. So I think that's the comments. I mean, for me, first personally, and also the Fair Fencing Group, we stay strong and clear about this issue, and this is not a theoretical issue. And the transgender, we are not anti-trans. We are supporting the transgender. We welcome everyone who participated in the sports. But I don't believe that it is right, it is fair, and it makes sense for a biological male participating in any female events. I mean, if it's a mixed group, that will be fine because people had a perception this will be a mixed group, and any gender can join and compete. But if it's designated for the woman, that should be women's event. So we echo the position on this. I think echo this audience as well. Let me move on. There might be additional ones and related or the same questions, but we'll just go over. Okay, so I think next question is related to the parafencing. It will be the same. It will be the same question as above. Just encouraging. Okay, the
I
next
just want to, if I may, I just want to
Sure.
add something here. Yes, this practice of like labeling, if you disagree with something, then you're anti right away. It's kind of a dangerous practice, and I personally don't like it at all. I agree with you, Jason, that we are not anti, and this is the idea. I think Maria even mentioned this before. This is the idea of pluralism opinion, and this is the idea of democracy. When you have a board, you have people with different opinion. If in the board will be somebody who strongly support participation of biological male in competition, we're not gonna, I personally not gonna like attack and label them and say, you like, calling him names or something. Okay, this is your right, but I want to respect my rights as well. I am the same, let's say if I'm on the board, I am the same board member who has different opinion. We have the third person who probably had another different opinion. This is the whole idea of the board, of the pluralism of the opinion. This is how the board should acting on the democratic society, that people have different opinion and they don't label each other with like some bad names only because the opinion is different. Yeah, I just wanted to add this and make it clear. Yeah.
Right. Well, unfortunately, this is what we see from some of the people from the community and some of the USA fencing officials.
Yeah, but
This is where I think it's a toxic culture that has been built up for years within USA fencing. That I personally believe this must change.
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so it's the same comment. Well, it's a comment from the same person. Just had an emerging conversation with a coach with an under 10-year-old girl who was injured fencing a strong young boy. I believe that young boy is a transgender, I guess. It never dawned on him how far it has come to and not put that girl in that situation. Keep getting farther and farther away from women's fencing. How about building up women's events at local level? We are gender separate at regional, national, but can reap any benefits for these events by fencing mixed. Um, I guess this is comments plus also a question on this topic, right? So I guess that since this audience proposed that we need to start from the local events has a separated women's category and should be just woman category. Unfortunately, I want to have to point out that transgender is the current transgender policy is already a official policy and it's written in the I don't know if it's in the bylaw, but it's definitely in the
Yes, yes. It says
policy.
like what says in bylaw adoption. I mean, it was last year, I think, that it was amendment to bylaws saying that on youth events under 40, youth 10, 12, and 14, anybody can, if you're a boy and you want to participate in the women's event, you can. If you identify yourself as a boy, you don't need any procedure, you don't need any hormones level or whatever. But you cannot go back. You cannot go just one tournament and then next time decide, oh, I go back to a men's tournament. And for the cadet and up, you know, junior and senior, it's requires some either surgery involved or not even surgery. I think it's just hormone level. I'm not sure, but this is how it's read right now. That and I personally just don't understand like why you would do it like on youth level. What for? What we're trying to achieve? Again, what we're trying to achieve? Why we're doing this? Do we have like hundreds of transgender people who are waiting to enter fencing events? We already talked about this. I mean, we already discussed these topics, but I just wanted to tell how it's written right now. It was added last year, I think.
Okay. Well, I wasn't aware that the policy says that this season, if you already declare you are a man, next season you cannot declare yourself as a woman.
Correct.
I
Yeah.
didn't read that. Based on the policy, I
Okay.
didn't find that. But whatever it is, I don't think it totally makes no sense that people can just self-identify and do whatever they want to do. That is not fairness. That is not progressiveness. That is absurdity. So, well, I think to change that, this is where that we need an election. We need a board members. We need someone who can speak for vast majority of us and our opinions needs to translate into the new board policy, needs to translate into a new bylaw that can reflect the vast majority of members' interest. So this is where that's so important that we have this election. This is going to be one of the most elections can impact USA fencing for years to come. So I cannot stress this strong enough and encourage everybody to come and to vote and tell the people around you that to vote for the candidates who you think can align with your ideology, ideas, who has ability, reputation, be able to make a change in the USA fencing. So that is why we are doing this town hall meeting for. And the list of the things that there are list of the okay, so I think it's all from this lady. Okay. Okay, I guess that it wasn't a transgender, it was just a boy. So I guess what's point was that in the local level, we should not have any mixed event. But however, I guess if it's a mixed event, I think it's today, if especially at a young age, many tournaments has a mixed event. Just they don't have enough fencers to come to the tournament, so they put boys and girls together, especially at a young age. I think this is a common practice now. So that they can have a way, they have controlled, well, ideally it's a controlled risk, but how? I mean, if it's if it's injured, some girls get injured, then I guess then in that case, then the girls, if the safety, if injury becomes a concern, then girl just opt out in that case. But I mean, regardless, I think the key thing is that it's okay to have a mixed event for the number of the fencers, because you don't have enough fencers, maybe you can do that. But the category should be set straight. There's a men's category, there's a women's category, right? That's what this game is built upon. So um, these are the list of the things that Patricia already mentioned. Okay, so I guess this is the end of the questions here on this board. I do have questions that people ask me from different group on WeChat. So I wanted to talk about this as well. So this is the question people ask in the WeChat. A particular issue about dual citizenship fencers who are able to let me read that out. Some dual citizenship fencers may take the path of representing home country in ECC and get international points, then add to their rolling points. The international points now becomes basically increase their the total points they've gained. Then their seeding is higher, and then I think they essentially boost up their domestic points, also domestic ranking, just because their total points are higher now. So it's unfair to other USA fencers, the US fencers. So what is your view on this? You think that there could be some changes that we should make on the rules to prevent this from happening? Ms. Giva, have you heard about this? Have you seen about
Yes,
it?
I actually even proposed when I was a national coach, and I still believe this should be. Look, the thing is, yes, you have foreign fencers, but many of them, especially like I see it in my city, I believe it happening in New York and LA or San Francisco. You have families from other countries who are in the process of getting American citizenship. Let's say, let me describe you this situation. You have a fencer who trying to qualify for the Worlds, right? In the beginning of the season, he or she still have a green card. But somewhere in the middle of the season or before the World Championships, he or she will become a US citizen. The current policy says that if you have a green card, you can participate in national events, and you can, but you cannot participate on FIE events. However, cadet tournaments are not FIE events. They are European Cadet Circuit, nothing to do with FIE besides the Cadet World Championships. So we have an issue with some fencers that, and I don't, that can, in the process of becoming US citizens, and they may become US citizens just before the World Championships, and they will qualify. However, current policy preventing them to going to international cadet tournaments, even if we have like 20 fencers per country. By the way, not long ago, it was only 12. Now they increased the quota, not now, about like maybe 8 years ago, they increased the quota and said, okay, you can bring like 20. So one of my propositions was, guys, why don't we do, we put US citizen first for the top like 17 fencers, or last 2, 3, or last one, I don't know, 20, we reserve for those who has green card and in the process of becoming US citizens. If they're not getting the citizenship, they don't go to the World Championships. But the reason I'm talking about this, but year after year, more and more, we will have more and more international fencers who coming to the US and want to compete for the US, but they cannot yet because they have green card. So sooner or later, we need to address this issue and find the way how we accommodate these people who wants to fence for the US but cannot yet, for example. And
Yeah, Ms. Giva. I think the question is talk about the scenario, but what you said is all valid. What I think the question was talk about scenario that a lot of dual citizen fencers, right? So let's say if they are not ranked high enough domestically, they don't have enough points to get into the top 20 to compete ECC on behalf of the US team. However, they go to ECC, they can represent the other country, right? They can go to ECC, then they gained the points on the ECC that adds to their international points for the US. So their total points now becomes higher and can move up a lot more potentially.
probably I don't, let me make it, probably I don't say. If you go to non-designated event today, I have fencers like this. They go to non-designated event, you cannot get any US points.
I
You
think
don't get
they are
any
talking about the US
international tournament.
But I think what we are hearing is actually we have international fencers who has a chance to go to an international event that maybe the top 13 US fencer is better, but they are unable to go, but they are number one maybe in Canada and they go and they come and compete in an act and now they are higher than a number 13 fencer.
Correct.
So that does happen in junior and senior events, unfortunately, and a lot of the kids might not be just coming from for green card and compete for the US, but they have dual citizenship and they are not good enough, not strong enough to fence for the US, so they select another country to fence for that country so they can make the team, they make it they can go to the Olympics, they get noticed by colleges and so on. Therefore, it's a little bit of disadvantage to or stronger fencers, right? Like we can have a number 20 who is much stronger than somebody might have competed, let's say, for the Philippines and was able to go to that designated event that the US considers them also as part of and getting points. So yeah, it is a very, the system needs to be looked at because it haven't been looked at for a long time. But I can tell you that it could be really, it's a two-edged sword because you can have a really, really good international fencers coming to the neck and you are not putting them properly in the right category and they end up in a pool and they beat everybody 5-0 and they are number 1 seed and they beat out our national champion in the first round and the national champion doesn't even get any points and unable to travel in the next tournament. So it needs to be weighted against each other. Like, we talked about, certain fencers who are just so much better than the US fencers. How do you decide where do they fit? And then you have weaker fencers who are not good enough, but they are ranked higher. It's all impacting the pools. But in the same way, that's not the only thing. But like when we're looking at the summer nationals, you are talking about 400, 500 fencers, and most of them are randomized. And you having these pools of like 50 pools and plus, and one touch can decide whether you are number 1 or number 20 and who you're going to fence with and who going to make that travel team. It's a much bigger issue. So that rolling points, besides the rolling points, the size of the tournaments and so on, it's all needs to be looked at comprehensively so we have a more fair system than what we have now, and it have not been evaluated for a very, very long time, so that needs to be revisited.
Yeah, first of all, yes, the USA fencing already has in place the system how they rank international fencers. You can check it probably on USFA website, but what it is, it might maybe not ideal, but it's there. For example, if you're a member of national team or world team, the USA fencing will give you A. If you top like something 30 or 20, like internationally on FIE point standing, you also get A. If you like lower, you get B and etc. I don't know if this system is sufficient enough, but they do have, probably it needs some modification. I understand what you, and I agree what you're talking about, that some of the fencers, I mean, the way they're ranked in the US, they take your letter, like at A, like 20, whatever. And also they consider your national seeding. But again, the only thing we can refer to right now is to your letter, because if you never fenced in the US, you will not have any high rate ranking. And therefore, it's also will be not fair, to put your, I mean, we need to have a criteria to decide, because if you come from abroad, not necessarily you like a top fencer. Yes, if you, on a FIE point, if you rank #1 in the world and you come here to fence, let's say, on cadet or junior category, of course, they need to consider this and put you in top 10 probably, here. But right now they have, USFA has some system in place, but they awarding only letters. If you top fencer internationally or for other nation, they give you like letter A or B or C. I don't know if it helps.
Yeah, I do agree with that, and but the issue, if you're looking at like one of the next, we had what's his name, Al Sayed, what's his name, the guy from St. John's. He ended up fencing so he didn't get the proper ranking at the NAC or whatever nationals. He's supposed to fence at 1 o'clock. He fenced at 8 o'clock, beat out all the top fencers, fenced at 1 o'clock, beat out all the top fencers, and end up winning the tournament. Okay.
Correct.
Everybody was on his way, might have had a chance to make the national team or the travel team. They didn't, because he was there, he was not ranked properly. So I think it just needs like a more comprehensive view of how are we doing it. Is it the right way to do it today, when we have so many pools, when we do have more international fencers coming to fence NCAAs, and they're going to show up to the next that are local, because they are good training opportunities for them, if nothing else. And then we also have to look at what's happening to our number 21 and or number 13 who are not in the team, and how are they ranked against those international fencers. So all I'm saying is that I think we need like a more comprehensive view both ways, so we can decide whether that old system that we developed maybe 20 years ago is matching what we need today, so we can keep the strongest fencers in the US and have the best, ultimately the best US team going to the international tournaments.
Yeah,
That's all.
actually, you know what's funny? Actually, about 10 years ago, again, when I was a national coach, actually, we did it on the personal level, because I know the field international. So what happened, the high performance director will ask, okay, this fence, do you know this fence? Or we give her A, but do you know, I said, yes, it's a very strong number, one of the top fencers in the world. And they just decided to rank her higher. I mean, I understand it's not sufficient enough, but back then we were able to do this. But I agree, it's supposed to be some policy, not just a personal, phone calls and decided who will go up, who will go down, right? Because it will open another problem. Yeah, we need a more comprehensive and stronger and better policy on this. Absolutely.
Okay, all right, thank you. Yeah, that is an interesting topic. I think I support both candidates, statement on we need to revisit this. This was a system design developed 20 years ago, and now the situation is different now, especially now how US ranks in the world is very different than 20 years ago. I mean, do we need that many ECCs going to Europe while almost time that all the US fencers are competing, or can we make something domestic instead of international? I mean, those are up to the topic. We don't have a position yet that needs to be looked at. I guess that to be more fair and for the betterment of the US team in the long run. So I think that's a good one to discuss. Another one. I'm sorry. I also received questions from other internet chat. The chat, uh, the WeChat and the other media. So I'm going to ask this. I don't know why they could not ask in this. Probably they could not type. So yeah. So the question is about how do we increase advertisement for the US fencing, for the fencing sport. Today, I guess people sees, if we go to the tournament, we see naked wine or naked wine. I guess that's the name that we see most of the time, and possibly now we have another avenue online, probably another advertiser. So if you were elected to the board of directors, do you have any plan on attracting some big names? I just throw some name out like Nike or Tesla or any big names, or maybe not Tesla, but the car company, right? So the BMWs, something that is more in line with we see a lot more often in a commercial sport than what we see a naked wine or avenue online today. I'm not saying they are bad or good. I mean, I don't have a position on this, but I just wanted to see if do we have any plan to see any bigger names that in the tournament or maybe potential donors and advertisers in this arena and in this sports? So Ms. Giva, you wanted to put in your thoughts on
Yeah, I
this?
mean, there is, yes, okay. Of course, we all wish to have Nike, Adidas, other. The problem with this fencing is not televised sport, and they are not interested in us. Now, I can promise here as much as you can, but it will be a lie. Now, can we still approach them? Yes, but I think we have to use, like, for example, on international fences, like a little bit a smarter approach. For example, in international fencing, since in fencing we have timing, they brought Tissot, like the watch company, the Swiss company that sponsors some of the events. It's a nice approach. That somehow they convinced them. They said, in fencing we deal with time. Why don't you put your sponsorship there? It's a nice move. Also, we have some former fencers. For example, Mark Zuckerberg of Facebook, CEO of Facebook. If you know, he was a foil fencer. And maybe, and I know that some of our fencers, I think Lee Kiefer and Guy Meinhardt was like kind of do some virtual bout with him or a real bout. I don't know how much it's can be done, but approach I mean, he's a fencer. He's familiar with fencing. Maybe some other millionaires or billionaires are former fencers, and we can approach them. I'm just sharing here ideas. I would like to listen to other ideas. I am not a marketing person. I do marketing for my club and pretty successful. But again, and that's why I'm proposing this, because what I found is this personal connection brings more money than spending thousands of dollars on newspaper or or other advertising channels. So again, let's reach out to people who used to fence. We need to find out, find some smart approach like Tissot did with timing. Maybe it was another commercial, I think, with precision, about precision. I don't know what they were, but things like this, to find what is common between the brand and fencing, and also reach out to people who fenced before and see if they can help us out. Personal connection, this is what can, because we don't have numbers, we don't have enough viewers to attract Nike or big like company. I mean, single fencers, yes, somebody like Lee Kiefer, Olympic champions, even though like Mariela Zagunis in the past, they had some, sponsorship, but I don't know how much, but it was individual athletes. For the organization, it's hard, but look, life is hard, but we need to try. We need to try differently.
Okay, okay. Well, just wanted to ask, I know before Ms. Penny answer the question, do we today, within USA Fencing today, do we have a paid full-time person doing just advertising, doing the commercializing the sports and dedicated for this job? Do you guys know?
And yeah, we have, of course. I mean, you have in USFA, yes, in the office you have not one, probably group of people who actually, and that's why you see all this new commercial coming. I agree that naked wine and others maybe not that much, but at least something. I mean, I don't oppose this idea. Any sponsor who come to fencing, we need to welcome. Yes, it's not what yet we wish, but I mean, we need to attract somebody. You
Sure.
you have in USFA, in current USFA office, you have people whose job is to attract and bring new sponsors to our organization. The answer is yes.
Okay, okay.
But-
Ms. Penny?
Yeah, so I think we are kind of overlooking a very important group here, or parents. The parents have tremendous amount of connections and knowledge. I know personally several parents who have high positions. They were top leaders in Silicon Valley, in Amazon, and other companies, in Google. Okay, so we do have, but we are not. We are kind of like looking at our parents as maybe just paying the bill. I think we need to get them more involved. And this is the area where we can actually reach out and say, what do you think? Which companies are, first of all, we have to identify the area as the mission, that these are the companies we want to target. We cannot target everybody. It's impossible. We don't have time. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of money, right? But we can have like some areas that we can say, okay, we're going to look for sporting goods, or we're gonna look for communications, whatever we're looking for, AI, whatever it is. And then we reach out to our community and try to identify parents and people with inside connections and try to leverage those and work it also through the foundation. If we have like a strong foundation strategy, then they can help to identify and bring on those sponsors. Yes, and I agree, or sport might be not viewed that much, but it's growing and it's getting more and more attention. You see a tremendous growth compared to other sports. Fencing is growing fastest, and there are reasons for that. We have, it helps to get into great schools. It requires it's physical, it's mental, it's a complexity of the sport. It's beautiful, it's not monotonous that others might not like, and it's a combat sport. You can have kids doing it with veterans together. I can fence with my son. You can fence with an Olympic champion as a veteran. Where you can do that? You cannot do that in any other sports. So I think there is like a lot of things that not being, kind of mined yet. The gems of fencing that's not being identified, just like para fencing can fence with able body fencing. You cannot see that many sports that can do that and compete and enjoy it and have fun with it and learn from each other. So I think we need a targeted strategy and get involvement from people who have potential connections internally.
Yeah, it's just supporting this point that I believe not only my club, I can talk with my personal experience, but I believe other clubs did before, that a lot of money for developing my club, and purchasing the 20,000 square feet facility came from parents, came from my fencing parents. They were the one who were contributing. Somebody gave loans, somebody gave like gifts. But yes, I'm using my personal connection. That now on bigger scale, we need to use some personal connection with our, by the way, veteran fencers, because they know for sure. They live long enough. They know for sure some top guys, but we just need to create this dialogue with them and explore this channels. Absolutely.
Okay, all right, thank you. I think we are close to, I think it's already past the plan to our time. I think we have concluded all the questions that this community has asked so far. If I missed anything, please let me know. If you have any more questions, please type in the chat box. And just to remind everybody that we will have the same town hall meeting tomorrow night at 7:30 Central, again with two other candidates, Igor and Sue. And the four candidates we are the ones that we have interviewed, talked to, and we call that shortlisted for the community. So welcome, encourage everybody to still dial in tomorrow and talking to the candidates and see what they have to say. I cannot stress this enough. This is going to be the most important election for the USA fencing for years to come. So this is our opportunity to meet candidates, understand the candidates, and be able to, through them, be able to voice our concerns, make a change to USA fencing. So this USA fencing is a membership organization. It's our organization. So we have to use our vote to change the USA fencing for better, and that's our desire, that's our duty. So that we have to exercise this as our fundamental rights. So let's vote this week.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So again, thank you, Ms. Giva, and thank you, Ms. Tanyi, for tonight's wonderful session. And if there's any additional question I received, I will surely pass on to you all, and so you can answer offline. And so then, if that's it, then thank you everybody for joining. Then have a good night tonight.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Thank you. Happy
Thank you.
Mother's Day. Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye.